Hello there, my name is Josiah Gilliam, and I am the Special Initiatives Coordinator in the Mayor's Office, and we've been very excited about Summer Learn and Earn this year, and have partnered with community organizations to talk about how it's going, and what the partnerships are that make it all work for this really interesting and compelling experience for young people throughout the city and the county. And today we have a special opportunity to talk with a community partner that has some pretty compelling and exciting things going on with their youth this summer. So Kashif, thank you for taking the time, sir. Would you mind introducing the Neighborhood Learning Alliance to those that might not be familiar and how you explain the work that you do in community?
Thank you, Josiah, the Mayor's Office, for having us and shining the spotlight on Neighborhood Learning Alliance. Our work spans K-12 education. In coordination with Learn and Earn and Partners for Work, we have a unique partnership between Learn and Earn and our organization, where students are able to take a college class and also engage in the work experience. In addition, if we talk about the spectrum of our whole organization, we service students in the elementary K-5 space as well during the summer, where our high school youth who work in Learn and Earn are able to push into our summer camps and support and engage students in hands-on activities, mentorship, and just fun activities in general that they would love to engage their students. So it's great to see our students from our community during high school to be able to interact with youth that look like them, and they to see mentors from their communities. So it's really a great partnership that you see in these relationships that are built between our high school students and younger students throughout this collaboration, with students being able to take some college courses and also engage with younger students and many of our other partners.
That's really exciting. So let's start at a high level. Around how many youth are you guys engaged with through Learn and Earn this summer?
We have over 110 youth that we engage for the summer.
Wow, and over how many sites would you say?
Over 14 sites that we have in partnerships. Some of them we operate ourselves, like we have mentioned, our camps. But a lot of them actually come from community partners who we've engaged over time. It's really a great experience.
It's cool to know that it's evolved over time. That's really exciting. Overall, how would you say, it's gone this year, Summer Learn and Earn?
Yeah, I think it's been great. Coming out of COVID, there's been some challenges, the last 2 years in summer not occurring in a physical space so much, but more of a virtual space, is just adjusting back to that physical space, right? And adjusting back to practices that are best practices for youth in our program. But it's been great overall to see the students really engage in courses in person or in a virtual learning hub, which was whatever was best to meet those students' needs this summer. Then also see the students not only take a class, but then engage in a work experience on top of that. So it's been pretty amazing.
I'm glad to hear it. So you mentioned a couple of different examples of the work site, so I'd like to zoom in there and learn more about it. You mentioned the summer camps. Give us a sense of what's happening in these locations.
Yeah, so our summer camp focused on 3 themes this year. It was community relationships, STEM genius, and then healthy eating and fitness. And so our students pushed into those summer camps with those 3 themes with our camp leaders, but we also position our students to be leaders themselves. So we train them to work and push and support students in developing their thinking, developing just activities, and really engaging students to have a fun summer. So we know we want them to learn and grow, but we also want them to have fun in their summertime. So that balance between learning and just really having that true, authentic summer experience. And that's where we see the benefit of having our Learn and Earn students push in, which we call our reading warriors or STEM warriors for us, who really focus on those skills so we can build them early and often for our students. And then we ask essential questions such as, what does the community mean to you? Who are the people in your community? But when we ask them that, we do it through a unique way. So we engage our students with a hands-on activity. We have these Legos in front of you. We want you to build this community with your high school student mentor. As you're building this community, I want you to think about who are the people in the community, how would you design this community, right? And so we talk about active play with active learning. And then when you're designing this, I want to ask you some questions to think about the importance of relationships. So who are the people you put in your community? How do they interact? How do they talk with each other? Let's take a field trip day. How would you cross this street? How would you get on this bus, right? And we put the students in these thinking spaces, because what are we going to do in our camp? We're going to interact with each other. We're going to play with each other. We're going to go on field trips. We put our students in learner space, but we leverage our high school students to help to lead those activities. That's just a small sample of something we've done. Yesterday was an amazing day, actually. We took the students to the Urban Hilltop Farm, and this week really has been exciting. It's the last week of camp, is the last week of Learn and Earn. And so with this healthy eating focus and fitness, we were able to take our 4th and 5th grade students who we graduated out of the program to Stillers training camp, where they were able to do some activities on the field led by one of the coaches there. They were able to do a high five line with the Stillers, but to be able to apply like some of that fitness that they were learning about throughout camp, healthy eating with common threads, who comes and push in and teaches our students how to lead the healthy eating activities with our student. And then we go to the farm, and we have the Hilltop Urban Farm, Adagio with health eating activities, our students, and Powerhouse, who partner to bring bees and animals. The students have been studying health and anatomy, but we also look at it through animals as well with our students. And just to see all these things come together towards the end of camp and be able to bring all the sites together was really exciting. But to see the high school students really lead also with these organizations and grow is just, like I said, the examples and models we want to see, right, as we move forward as a city, to be able to leverage our students early and often.
Absolutely. It's so great to hear. It's immersive, it's engaging, but it's also very practical. You're not just talking about these themes, they're engaging with them in the real world. And then, I think it's important also to highlight that Learn and Earn, in many cases, is a young person's first or an introductory work experience. But what you're talking about, you have older students engaging with younger students too, building those organic relationships and helping each other. That's really wonderful to hear about. You also mentioned, when we were talking about this before, that some of the students had an opportunity to work with a startup. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like this summer?
Yeah, so we have students working with Outreach. It's a startup company here in the area with students, and students are testing products that they're working on and being able to learn that development process, that startup process, and really engage and have this experience where they're able to work with professionals who are a startup company. And students are able to test the consumer experience, get feedback for them, and participate in learning the design methods of development, right? And the importance of developing products, the importance of the consumer experience. And oftentimes, we are the consumers, right? And sometimes we might not think about all the intricacies that had took place before it came to us to ensure as consumers that this might target a certain audience, it might meet our needs. And we start putting that in the heads of a high school student, it's like that aha moment, right? It's like, wow, I never had to think about all this when I would design something and understanding your audience, or what we call consumer. So if you look at the high school, oftentimes, most likely in English class, they would say, who's your audience? But now we look at that in the real world, we say, here for a startup, who's our consumers, who are maybe our target consumers, maybe who are not our target consumers? How do we design experience for those we know that will meet our data points? But then how do you also design experience to get new consumers in that process and understanding the difference? And then how do we make sure that our product also is able to sustain that the base that we're targeting, and maybe encourage them to get other people to consider this product? So it's a really great experience for our students.
That's terrific. We talked a little bit also about social emotional work that some of your students have been working on in partnership with a great community partner. Can you speak a little bit about that with 5A Elite?
Yeah, so Nate Brown has been with us for several years. Learn and Earn, Partners for Work year round. And it's really a community-based focus. And I think one thing that came out of COVID is this focus on social emotional well-being. Sometimes there's a stigma attached with it in certain communities, and not really being able to acknowledge, or even sometimes have the language to understand, knowledge, and explain what somebody might be experiencing personally, right? Or what the community might be experiencing. And so Nate leads these students through a process of community building, right? Relationship building, understanding, the communities that we live in, understanding who we are, understanding how do we really take in this local information and start to design, because they're in a design process of how we can educate youth, how we can educate our communities, and understanding our social well-being. And that's really cool because it's from a Pittsburgh lens. So they're doing research that would include research from national conversations and local conversations, but then really looking at, when you gather this information, when we're looking to create a tool, a resource, or a product that we want to share to help youth and communities, how do we look at that from the lens of a local local viewpoint of the communities that are being served? How do we even include and incorporate, right, the voice, the input, and expertise of those communities, and understanding that our communities are valuable and our communities bring information and knowledge, and that we're not the ones with all the knowledge, but we're all pieces in this design for us to grow and strengthen ourselves in this state and ensure that we're taking care of our social well-being.
That's wonderful to hear about. You mentioned it at the beginning of our conversation here, but this idea that some young people that are working with Learn and Earn this year with you all are getting college credits for their time and completing the experience. This is very exciting to me and really wonderful to learn about. And I had the pleasure of seeing you at Carlow University. Some young people were going through a statistics course. And it was a cool moment for me as someone that's graduated college to see some formulas and some explaining going on from a professor and all of that. But talk to us a little bit about that, how it's been going, and what exactly the details are for the young people.
We partner with Carlow University, CCAC, and also Chatham University for our students. So each university will offer a unique set of courses. And Chatham's our newest partner, and they're really focusing on our teaching program and partnership for high school students. So that program is really designed to address a need. And we're looking at a need of building a brown and Black teacher pipeline. And this summer actually was the first course that was offered, and it's Perspectives in Education. And bringing different experiences, so starting with the students' experiences, what has been your experience in education? What would be your ideal, educational experience? What does education systems and models look like here in our city, even in our state, in our country at large, and at times even internationally, to start to build your different perspectives? And what are those experiences like for students? What are those experiences like for teachers who are working there, administrators? What are those experiences like for the communities that are currently being served? And thinking back also, what are those experiences like for the people who went through those education systems? And how does that design people's perspectives and take on education in Pittsburgh, right? Education in PA, education in the United States, and how that impact the way we view education and the way we consider education and need. And our students in that class have take that course, engage in those conversations. We've also had them being able to go to a workshop seminar this year, and their internship experience is actually at the Urban League Charter School, where they went through professional development as if they were teachers, led by the administrative team there. And they were trained and given some responsibility with a teacher to really dial in with 1 to 2 students and build a mentoring relationship, but also not just being there for that mentoring side, understanding that we're working with our precious tools and minds, and understanding the importance of being there on time, being ready, being prepared, and helping the student grow. So it was the academic side of the piece they had to learn as well, and helping those students in the summertime grow. And then at Carlow University, we have several courses that occur there. So we had public speaking this summer. We've had the statistics course, and I am missing one more off the top of my head. I'm so sorry. Psychology was there as well for our students. Students take one class, and psychology, the students are really learning about themselves and who they are, and they're learning about just interactions. So it's personalities as well. We're thinking of who we are and the various personalities we might have as people in our interactions too. And public speaking, which most people know but might not know, is a fear for a lot of people, is getting up and being able to speak in front of an audience, right? That nervousness that comes, the anxiety that might come there. But in high school, learning the skill sets that come with speaking in front of an audience, the preparation before that, understanding the different types of speeches you might give or the different conversations you might engage in, understanding your audience, and being able to take this learning, apply it, and engage in that method. And you saw the stats class, reflecting back, like you said, seeing some high school students taking college level stats class in the summertime at that, it's all amazing pieces. And then at CCAC, We have students who are engaging in English courses, English 101 course, which is usually our entry-level course for all students when they come to the program. So we have an understanding that your writing skills, your speaking skills, your reading skills is going to help support your foundation for any of the courses you go to. So we want to really ground those skills. But in those classes, they really engage in deep discussions, writing pieces, engagements tied to what is happening around them. So it's not like it's a drill, skill, kill you, but it's really looking at why this is necessary and how it's going to help you later in your life and your trajectory. And then we also have a biology course in the summer for our students. They take at CCAC. And with that, at CCAC, and I'm missing the third class I had to add, is we have a business class, which is the second offering. And I'll talk about our pathways in a minute. And the business class was a marketing class for our students. So a lot of students have this entrepreneurship interest, this spirit. And so how do we, the question we had to ask ourselves here, how do we help give them the tools? Because the interest is there. The spirit inside them is there. But how do we help them give them the tools and language so that they're able to start connecting with the business world at this age? Because right now, with everything you have, with the social media tools, that they're able to reach these audiences across the globe. And these marketing skills that they'll learn to be able to apply that. If I want to make a YouTube station, if I want to have, leverage my Instagram or TikTok, or if I'm just thinking about doing a small startup, traditional business is in the brick and mortar, understanding, the importance of marketing. So that when we look at the college classes, that's the classes that we offered this summer. But within those classes, we also have students who are focused on career pathways. So we have a group of students who are in the English, who are in the psychology, who are in the stats and biology classes, who are going to West Penn to take internship experience because they're interested in nursing, or they're interested just in the health career in general. And they go there the other half of their day as part of this career pathway, and they're shadowing nurses and doctors, and they're in the various units, and they go through rotations to learn about the various jobs. So the question most students are asked is, what do you want to be in life? Instead of having this general questions where students give back responses that we typically hear, we're looking at in LA is, how do we give them experiences? So when somebody asks them that, they can say, well, I went through this one, this one, this one, this one, and this, and I have now a library of resources with or some potential career experiences that I've engaged in already, that I can start to draw information from to say, I really like this, I didn't like that. The business pathway is the second newest pathway, and we're really looking to expand. So if somebody's watching this, we're really looking for some business partnerships for our students to expand as we continue to build throughout the year from Learn and Earn, and coming back to next summer for our students to really partner them with corporations, small businesses. Right now, one of our businesses partner with us, and it came from a former student of ours who's in a nursing pathway, but his mom owns a restaurant in Squirrel Hill, African Cuisine, which is one of our Learn and Earn work sites. And our students learn from the owner directly. How does she start a business, a restaurant business? What is that process for starting a restaurant business? And then if you're interested in a restaurant field while you're here, let's talk about food prep, management, safety while you're here as well. But, on top of that, customers matter, right? And so what is customer service? What does customer service look like? How do you build that into your model, the customer service experience for our students? So that's been engaging. And then we also and I went back a little bit and talked about the teaching experience, which is the newest one. And we'll be building that as well, looking for some more schools to partner with so that we can have schools that are closer to where the students live across the city, so they don't have to, take long rides and so forth. But we also want to show students different experiences for education. So what does a private school student's experience look like? So we're looking to expand into some of the private charter schools. What does experience look like across PPS schools for students? So that when we build this educator base in the future, we're building a base that has some foundational experiences that's growing their knowledge, that we can start to change the landscape of our city and continue to grow our city with rich experiences, with students who are coming in with resources and tools that align to the study of books, but also ties to like, hey, I had some experience, but I also was taking classes this summer too, and building that together.
It's so encouraging and inspiring to hear about. Thank you for sharing all that. You mentioned so much, meeting students where they're at, providing pathways to institutions, adults, resources that can help them navigate their lives and move on, but then also checking back in with them, on it, and then, also making sure that they're having like this robust, diversified experience where they can learn more about themselves, but then also about the broader world that's out there. So exciting. A couple wrap-up questions here. All of these things take partnerships to do it. How were you able to cobble together and align partnerships and funders to make this work? Anyone you want to mention that helped make it happen this summer?
Yeah, so it really takes the efforts of the community, as we would say, the village. Not one partner covers it all. It's really a team of partners who believe in the students, who believe in helping and supporting them reaching their goals, and also just helping them, believing them to understand, what pathways they believe are best for them through experience and engagement. And so some of the partners are JP Morgan and Chase, the Grable Foundation, United Way, Highmark, and then even when we look at just that hands-on experience, I like to throw West Penn in there. And what they provide our students, it's just been so rich in making sure that we are able to provide our students an experience that's free, right? They're not paying for these college classes at Chatham, CCC, or Carlo. And even at those three partners that we have, they've also looked at how do they work with us on tuition and also just other fees to make sure that we can offer something that's reasonable between us all as partners. For our students. I just really like to highlight them all for the financial contributions, the time that's given to ensure that students in the city of Pittsburgh, students in Allegheny County are able to pursue dreams, goals while in high school to gain that understanding experience early on.
That's wonderful. Everyone bringing their best, ultimately for the impact and the benefit of the young people that are participating is really great. Chief, what are you most proud of this summer? Final question here. When you think back on this year, what are you most proud of?
It's the students and the staff coming out of a time for 2 summers, COVID, being able to pivot, COVID-19 vaccinations, and I look back in June where we were really backs against the wall. Are we gonna be able to offer a program, not offer a program with all that was happening and seeing COVID levels rise? The student, staff, and even community partners just said, all right, we'll create virtual hubs so that students can continue to take a college class. It was the universities pivoting as well and say, we'll offer this virtual opportunity so we don't have to drop the student because they can't come in person. It's students and parents for being patient during that process. It was like 2 weeks before and said, we're still in, we're still dialing down. And we're here to go. We're going to still have, we're going to participate and engage. And so it's still exciting to see, with all these challenges you can't control at times during this pandemic, we're still kind of experiencing that the students are literally finishing up classes right now as we speak today for some of the courses. Next week will be the last ones. A week from today will be the last course is offered. And I think back to yesterday when we're at the field trip and we give the green light for the kids to say, hey, you don't have to go to tutoring. You can stay here on a field trip all day. And like literally almost the whole group was like, we'll stay here and help out in the morning, but we got to go to tutoring. We got finals. To hear that from a high school student, it's like, wow, that's it. That's the example right there.
Amazing. Kashif, thank you for your leadership and taking the time to share with us today. Neighborhood Learning Alliance, a wonderful community partner, and thanks to all the partners that have made this summer a special experience. And ultimately, thanks to all the young people that dedicated themselves and invested their own time into this program. Thank you so much.